Hello again, I am Blunty, and it's drone time again. The latest quadcopter to buzz its way over my review desk is this, the DM007, also labelled as the 007 Spy, or you might find it even labelled as the Nighthawk. Now, it's not called the Spy because it's for spying. I mean, quadcopters with four buzzing engines aren't exactly very covert, but more for its sleek, stealth-like design, which is pretty cool looking. But me, I look at this thing and there's something about that shape, its attitude, its glowing cyclops eye, puts me in mind of a Cylon raider. But then again, I'm a big dork, so maybe that's just me. Anyway, it's a bit unusual in size, sitting somewhere between what are generally called micro and nano quads, so larger than the palm-sized ones, but also noticeably more compact than the likes of the popular Cyma X5C. Anyway, it comes to me via GearBeast, where it'll cost you just under $50 dues, and that makes it one of dozens of inexpensive camera-toting drones you can pick up these days. But the DM007 has a few good things going for it that might just put it a cut above the rest. For example, the very first thing I noticed about it, day one, flight one, was its remarkable stability. It's carrying a 6-axis gyro and it floats through the air like fish in water. It's far less twitchy than I'd expected, and the fluidity and general smoothness of its flight characteristics punches well above what I'd anticipated for a 50 quid drone. It does use slightly different motors than you'll usually find of drones of this range, and they're noticeably more powerful too. It also uses a 7.4 volt battery instead of the much more common 3.6 volt batteries you find in these drones. It also has a better range than similarly sized and priced drones that I've looked at in the past. I estimate I got closer to 70 to 100 meters pretty reliably instead of the 50-ish I'd experienced in the past. And the result of all that is this remarkably smooth flyer. And the big benefit here, of course, is the video captured from the onboard camera is much more stable and nicer to look at than you usually get from these drones. The camera is fixed to the body, of course. There's no gimbal or other stabilization technology. That's for the more expensive stuff. But the unusually stable flight of the DM007 makes a pretty obvious difference in the video. Unfortunately, the camera isn't HD. It'll tell you it's HD on the box, but that's a bit of wibbly-wobbly Chinese marketing. Sure, it's a 2 megapixel sensor in there, which in video terms would make it HD, no doubt about it, but only the stills are 2 megapixels. The video is actually good old 640 by 480 SD. Now, is that a deal killer? Nah, not really. Not even for a camera nerd like me, actually, which might surprise some of my regular viewers. See, it breaks down like this. The 640 by 480 video from this camera may indeed be a mere 0.3 megapixels, but the video is actually cleaner and crisper and smoother than many of the 720p modules usually found in these drones in this price range these days. And you know what? I'll take a lower resolution but cleaner picture over a higher res but soft picture without any complaints at all. Besides, as we've talked about before in other drone videos, camera drones like these, they're toys. They're for fun. They're for training. They're for practice. Either you get it as a plaything or you get it to build up your skills and techniques so when you are ready for a fancy pants big dollar drone, you're less likely to smash it into a tree or faceplant it in the ground or indeed drown it in a river. Now back to the camera. It has the usual issues with glare and flare common amongst these little cheapy camera modules and little plastic lenses, but colour and contrast seem nicely controlled and exposure adjustments are pretty well behaved too, again within the context of this price range anyway. You can start and stop video recording and snap still photos from the remote itself, which is cool, but a warning, if you disconnect the battery from the drone before manually stopping a video recording, it will corrupt the file and you'll lose it forever. So be mindful of that little red light on the camera that indicates recording. Always check for that before you unplug the battery. So, a very stable flyer, low-res but smooth and crisp video, and a cheap price. We're building up to what may be a new favourite bargain price drone here, aren't we? But wait, there's more! You can actually easily detach the landing gear and the entire camera unit and fly sleek and naked through the skies. And performance without the extra wind drag and weight of the landing gear and camera make it even more fun to fly. You've got two settings on the remote, triggered by a shoulder-mounted button, one for smooth and slow and one for fast and highly responsive. The standard setting is better for camera work, smoother, more gentle, and it tilts less so you aren't tipping just to see the sky or the ground as drastically, while the high rate setting is much more aggressive and it's for the fun times. That said, this isn't the fastest drone you'll find. Even in high rate mode, it's not screaming around, but it is highly responsive and reasonably quick, and quite a lot of fun. Without the camera, you'll also find more use for the flip button, also mounted on the other shoulder of the remote. One click and then push on the stick in any direction, forward, back, left, right, will make it flip that way. Especially fun and dramatic while in motion at top speed. Flight time either with or without the camera is around 7 or 8 minutes or so. I'd expected more flight time without the camera, I mean it seems logical, but I rather think my much more aggressive piloting without the camera cancelled out the battery savings I would have attained with not having the extra weight and drag of the gear, and also sapping power to run the camera as well. How about negatives? Well, there's only 3 small ticks I've got for the problem column. The first is the colour, believe it or not. See, a black drone with absolutely minimal lighting on it, while it looks really cool and dramatic and sleek and stealthy, it can get a bit hard to see if your background is anything but sky. Trees, for example. The second small issue is the props are reasonably easy to pop off. In fact, most crashes will usually result in at least one flinging off. And if you happen to be ankle deep in leaf litter, well, it's a good thing it comes with a set of spare props is what I'm saying, because good luck finding a small jet black plastic propeller in all that. But you know what, neither of those things are really big issues, they're just niggles really. But there is a real issue, and it's the battery. Well, the battery compartment, really. There's very little space in the compartment, and getting the battery connected and the cables and connectors tucked away in there with it so you can close the battery door, which doubles as a camera mount, is quite fiddly. And I do worry that the strain on the cables may make them wear a bit faster than they should. It hasn't been a problem in all my testing, and I have been flying this thing about for a month or so, but it is a worry. But you know what, aside from those little things, it is a damn fine drone, and damn fine value, and a blast to fly. So I'm calling it a recommendation. Definitely worth the look for first-time flyers or first-time camera-equipped drone buyers looking to start playing with recording their flights, or of course for addicted droneaholics looking for another nifty quad to add to the collection. There is, of course, a link direct to the product page in the description of this video as usual if you'd like to take a closer look at the dry specs that I haven't mentioned in this video, or indeed order one for yourself. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and I will catch you next time.